Hey everybody, it's Rod Giltaka, Civil Advantage Firearms Training here again. Today we're going to talk about holsters. Get a lot of people in the class asking about holsters and how to use them and whatnot. And I end up saying the first thing that comes out of my mouth is you need to take a course for holster. Holsters are very dangerous devices to use with loaded, cocked and ready firearms. Before we get into how to use a holster and how to not shoot yourself in the leg or shoot someone that you love, let's talk about the different kinds of holsters. So there's a couple of different things that you're going to see out there. One of the most common is a holster like this called a paddle holster. This goes on a belt. You're going to wear that right on your hip. You've got a drop leg holster, and this one's attached to a fairly affordable tactical vest. But this one is going to drop down onto your thigh, and that's going to be at a great angle or a great position for your extended arm to go directly straight onto the handle of that firearm, right onto the grip. It also, the other reason why you have a drop leg holster is to keep your sidearm away from the rest of the gear so it doesn't get caught on stuff. If you can imagine this paddle holster's up here, it could get caught on a lot of these magazine pockets or whatnot. So another holster, still on this vest, if you have to be so seriously armed, you can have 50 different firearms on you. You can have what's called a cross-draw holster, and that holster would be sitting on the vest somewhere around this position, and it's called a cross-draw holster because you're kind of crossing your chest with the firearm. This can be a little bit tricky, a little bit dangerous as well, because when you do draw the pistol out of this holster, you've got the muzzle direction pointing perpendicular to where you're typically looking. So again, you're kind of waving the gun around in a couple of different directions. The only other thing I'll say about holsters too, there's different types of holsters. Some are called, they all have a retention capability. Retention means that the firearm itself stays inside the holster by some means. You have passive and active retention holsters. A passive retention holster, I don't have one here, I do have one at the school, but a passive retention basically is just a clip or some kind of friction that holds the firearm. There's nothing that stops you from yanking that firearm out of there. Active retention is something like this. This is a Blackhawk. They say it's a level 2 active retention holster. I'm not going to get into the levels because those. It seems that the opinions are all over the place. What makes a level 1 or level 2? But typically, the level part of it refers to that there's something that you have to do, some action you have to take, some lock you have to unlock to get the pistol out. And level 1 is supposed to be one item that you have to sort of defeat. Level 2, 2 things. Level 3, 3 things. Typically, for civilians, you want to have a level 1 or 2, depending on how you define those levels, right? But something that has some active retention, so your gun isn't falling out. So you're not dropping a loaded pistol on the ground. So this Blackhawk holster here has a little button. Okay, they call this a level 2 by some definition in a level 1, but we'll call it what Blackhawk wants us to call it. Great little holster, but it has a little button here. So what has to happen is your hand has to come directly over this button and onto the firearm to release it. Otherwise, it's not coming out no matter what. These holsters are designed that nothing will actuate the trigger either, so you're real safe with it. If you're going to make a purchase like this, buy something good like a Blackhawk. No, I'm not getting any commission, unfortunately. Maybe I'll give Blackhawk a call. But buy something decent quality because you want something that's tested and that's going to be reliable and not, be subject to pulling the trigger when you're reholstering. So we are going to cut and come back, and we're going to look at how you're going to use a regular paddle holster and safely. So a little holster advice for beginners. All right, guys, here we are with the paddle holster on, and we're ready to go through the safety and operation, basically, of a holster. Now, I want to go out of my way and say that there's a lot of different ways that people draw pistols. Different sports have their own, this is the fastest way or this is the right way. What I'm teaching you is the easiest way, in my opinion, and it's a safe way. So that's, I don't claim to be any big name in the sport shooting arena. I just know how to do it safely. So for beginners again, right? Like all the videos. Okay, so we've got our paddle holster. First thing I'm going to say is make sure that we keep our fingers off the trigger at all times. In fact, On the first 200 reps of the exercise or the technique that I'm going to show you, we want to make sure that we never even put our finger on the trigger. We're going to learn how to do this, how to draw the pistol, present it, and reholster it all without even putting our finger on the trigger first. So let's get started with the movement. When we are going to draw a pistol, we want to make sure that we keep track of both our hands. We have two hands, we want to keep it that way. Okay, so if I'm going to go for the grip of the pistol, I got to do something with my left hand. Typically people will place it on their chest. Okay, that way I know exactly where it is, and it's actually in a good position for when I bring my hands together with the pistol and want to punch the pistol out towards the target. Okay, so here's the motion. I've got my holster. I go for the grip. My hand goes up to my chest, my left hand. I'm going to pull the pistol up. So I'm going to come back into the frame here and show you exactly what this looks like. So I come back, left hand goes here to my chest. So I know where it is. I'm going to press my retention release. I'm going to bring the pistol up. As soon as possible, I'm going to turn this pistol this way. Okay, why? Because I want to point it at my leg as little as possible. So as soon as I've got it out of the holster, I'm going to turn it this way. Now, the easiest way that I've found to do this safely is to follow the contour of your body with both of your hands. So I'm moving the pistol here, and I'm marrying up my hands right here. I have a natural advantage because my body kind of protrudes in this area, so it's going to be a little tougher for you skinny folks out there, so watch out. But this technique actually works quite well. So we're going to marry up our hands close to our body, and then we're going to punch out. As you can see, my posture looks a little strange, but when you punch out, you want to make sure that you're bending and putting as much of you behind that pistol as possible. You know, pistol is a very small firearm. You know, 9mm, 40 cal, 45. As you get up there, these things jump around quite a bit. So you want to make sure that you're well behind the pistol so that you can let go, fire successive shots without the pistol running all over the place. So I'm going to do this motion straight on. Okay, I'm going to go for the grip, and right away, my hand comes up to my chest. I'm going to draw, pull the pistol straight out. My finger is still nowhere near the trigger, of course. And as I move my hands, I'm going to marry them up here close to my body, and I'm going to punch out. Okay? That's the motion right there. Now when you reholster, take your time. Pull your clothing out of the way and look down. You know, I've probably reholstered this pistol 10,000 times, but I still look down. Okay, because I'm going to show you one of the biggest hazards, one of the reasons why holsters are very dangerous. If you get people with bad trigger finger discipline, okay, what happens is they're in a real rush to reholster. They've got the finger on the trigger because they're worried, you know, people are watching them or whatever their concern is, and they go to reholster and their finger's on the trigger. Okay, so what happens? The holster is going to pull the trigger for me, okay? And of course, as you can well imagine, the angles involved here, that bullet is going to leave the barrel, it's going to enter my thigh, it's going to run its way all the way along my femur, because that's a pretty strong bone, and it's going to probably exit my leg right out my knee, okay? So devastating, devastating injury. And emotionally and physically, I probably would never recover. So let's not do that. Once again, I'm going to show you the motion one more time. Go for the pistol, hand up on the chest, tilt it immediately, and then I'm going to marry up the hands and punch out. Again, go for the pistol, left hand has a place, marry up the hands and punch out and back. So the exercise, what you want to do is you're going to want to do this exercise 200 times minimum. Okay, 200 times without ever putting your finger on the trigger. When you're ready to put your finger on the trigger, you're going to put your finger on the trigger right about here. Okay, so you're almost completely punched out. You just got to straighten your arms a bit. This is when your finger should be moving onto the trigger. Okay? And I place my shot and my finger's back out again. So it looks like this. Okay, so that's your exercises. If you're new to holster use, you're going to do 200 without the trigger finger, and then you're going to do a whole lot of dry fire practice. So 200 times, maybe another 200 times, pulling and releasing the trigger, and then go to the range and practice at live fire. If you're going to take any kind of combat pistol course, any type of course where you're using a holster and you're moving and shooting, or doing assessing situations and doing all kinds of fun stuff, as we like to do, make sure that you get practice with that holster. So again, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it was of help to you. You can find us on the web at www.civiladvantage.com and come back and see us. Thanks and take care.